Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. In today's video I've got two stories for you and both of them have updates. Also, in the first story we do touch on the topic of miscarriage, so if that is something that's uncomfortable for you, you might want to skip it. Now let's get started. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user CheapCucumber8223. Am I the a-hole for telling my stepkids I'm not their mom? My husband, 40 male, and I, 36 female, have been together for 8 years now, and our marriage has been rocky. When I met him, he had twins, a boy and a girl. I love them like they were my children. Since it's hard for me to have kids, they are mine. My husband and I tried for a baby last year, and I became pregnant but had a miscarriage. I think I'm just not meant to be a new mommy. The kids are 16 and haven't seen their mom in years because she left them for some guy in New York, which is so sad. After all, they didn't get to have a relationship with her. The twins call me mom and everything, and we do everything like the little family I always wanted. When I was younger, I always used to tell myself not to date a single father because they might be messing with the mother of their kids, but I took the leap of faith. Now, the other day, my son and daughter wanted to go to the mall with their friends, which was fine because they went to the mall a lot with them. The argument started because of what she was wearing. She wore a very short skirt with a crop top and a jeans jacket. I immediately told her no and to change her clothes because I didn't feel comfortable with her going outside like that. I don't even know where she got that skirt from because anything she gets from the mall, she shows me. Her brother didn't even care what she was wearing and just rolled his eyes at me. She was pissed and upset, and from the top of the steps, she screamed and told me that I wasn't her mom, so I should stop acting like it. Her brother laughed, and that made me feel even worse. I asked him why it was funny to him, and he said that it was true. I'm not their mom, so I needed to stop acting like I could tell them what to do. This felt like a slap in the face because I basically raised them, and this is what I got. The past month, they've been saying horrible things to me. My daughter even told me it was my fault I lost the baby and she's happy I did. Fine. The next day, I toughened up. I acted like nothing had happened that day. Now, I would usually wake them up for school and make them breakfast, but this time, I didn't. I made myself breakfast because, like they said, I'm not their mom. My son had a basketball game that day and I would be the mom to bring snacks for the team, but I wasn't going. My daughter had a cheer competition 2 days later, but I wasn't going. I know y'all might call me petty for this, and I wouldn't disagree with you. I've been getting up and ignoring everyone. I could feel them staring at me every time. Finally, last night, my daughter came up to me and asked me why I didn't show up to her competition. I told her I wasn't her mom, so why would I? I can already see that you're the a-hole and I raised my husband's kids and stuff. I told my husband what they said, but he brushed me off. I don't think our marriage is working out, and I've been thinking about a divorce. I feel unappreciated in the place I call home. When I slave in the kitchen to make them food, they order out instead. So I am the only one eating the food that I make. Was that too harsh? Well, OP, first of all, no, I don't think you're the a-hole. I think the kids are old enough to understand that what they said is incredibly hurtful. Particularly with what your stepdaughter said, absolutely out of line. And the fact that your husband just brushed it off and treats you like that? No, your husband is a huge jackass, and I absolutely understand when you say that you feel like your marriage is not working. All three of them owe you apologies, and they should be more grateful of everything that you do for them. If this is the regular tone of the life that you live, with a husband that brushes your concerns off or the way that the kids treat you, then I'd make an appointment with a divorce attorney because this is no life. Sure, they're right, you're not their mom, but their mom isn't their mom either. It's been you, the one who's been parenting these kids. So no, OP, you're not the a-hole, and I think you know what you need to do now. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? What is your judgment and what would you do if you were in her shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Etheria Blotsky says, not the a-hole. Those kids are out of line. I would probably do the same thing. Stop being a mother figure since I was unappreciated by the kids. What the girl said to you was cruel. Teenagers can be mean, but they need to learn there are consequences for their actions. Only you can decide if you want a divorce, but it would be understandable given the circumstances. Professional Drama says, I think this one is not the a-hole. I don't know if they're trying to see your limits so they can see if you're going to leave them like their bio mom, or they just want to be preferred by their bio mom and taking their anger out on you. But I know this is a call for therapy. You're already hurt and someone can get hurt even more if you don't get help. Your husband must care about this crap, and that's why he's a real a-hole in this story. I would say he's even worse than the kids because as an adult and parent, he needs to do something and he just sits there and watching the crap show. What you do is petty, but also you show them you care and you're hurt actually. And if they question you again, you can always say you respect their boundaries. So even if you saw them as your own, you will not step on their boundaries and do mommy duties. Honestly, be petty so they can learn not to take for granted the people who love them. And Fit Marion Berry 3878 says, not the a-hole. Also, you are only 36. I would not waste any more of my time with him if I were you. Take a year to yourself and try to see if it is possible to have your own family. Harsh to the twins, but they made it clear you are not their mom, and your husband is using you for a ready-made mom, while he gives no care to the fact that you don't have a secure place in his family. Additional information from OP's comments. When I told her why I didn't go to her competition, she said she was upset with me and that the whole time at the competition, she thought about our argument, and that's why she messed up in her routine, placing her team in 5th place. She said that if I hadn't mentioned what she was wearing, she wouldn't have lost. I could also tell by their body language that they didn't like it when I said I wasn't their mom, and they were shocked I said it. They've been quiet these days, we're basically strangers. And for the you're the a-hole crowd, I didn't shame her for the clothes she wears. The skirt was up to her crotch and I know how many weirdos there are in the world and I didn't want her to feel uncomfortable. Also yes, I know how teenagers act, but what she said about my miscarriage threw me off. You can't expect me to get over it until you have been through a miscarriage yourself and understand it's hard. Yes, teenagers say bad things, but that shouldn't be an excuse for saying vile things. I also can't force them to talk to me if they don't want to. When they talk to me, I'm here, but other than that, I'm focusing on getting divorce papers. Alright, well, the majority of the community agreed that OP was not the a-hole, and apparently there were some you're the a-hole people and trolls that got downvoted into oblivion, but OP had some words for them as well. And we get from that last paragraph that OP is dead set on divorcing her husband. So let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. But before that, if you're enjoying this video so far, like usual, don't forget to please click that like button, write a comment about what you think, and of course subscribe if you haven't done so yet. And now, let's move on with that update. I know everyone has been spamming to know the update, and sorry I didn't make it sooner. I had to think about what was my next move. I tried to sit the kids down and talk to them along with my husband. My stepdaughter was basically on her phone the whole time, not even paying attention to what I said. Surprisingly, her brother was listening and he apologized for laughing at the comment he and his sister made to me. I asked if she could apologize for what she said about my baby, but she brushed me off and again said the baby deserved it. My husband didn't do a thing when she said this. He sat down looking into space and I felt embarrassed, so I knew what I had to do. I told him I wanted a divorce if he was going to act like I'm a stranger and disrespect me. At this moment, this was the first time I've gotten his attention so far. He told me that wasn't the right decision and that we could go to therapy, but when I mentioned that to him before, he didn't care. I know this is not the decision you guys thought I would have chosen, but I'm trying to figure out what I want for my life. He begged me not to take this route, and I wanted to fold, but I knew it would happen again. This is really hard. You won't even believe who cried. My stepkids had tears coming out of their eyes. I don't know if they were faking it or being serious. It broke my heart, but I can't keep living in a place I am not wanted. I'm staying with my mom in the meantime, so I can get a break and clear my head because all this is too much. If I have anything else to say, I will update you guys over here. It was a shock to me when my stepdaughter changed her demeanor and started saying sorry out of nowhere, and I don't know if it was sincere or if she was just ready for me to leave. OP's edit. I will be deleting my account and this app. Well, it's time to start a new life. I want to thank you to everyone who gave me advice over the days we shared. Thanks, Mended Heart. And true to her word, OP deleted her account, so I don't think she's coming back with any other updates. I have to say, I do feel bad for those kids, not the husband, but the kids. They found out pretty harshly that actions have consequences, and what they said to OP, yep, there's no return for that. Unfortunately, they made it so that the only adult that apparently really loved them just moved away because their dad, yeah, he doesn't sound like much of a parent, and bio mom abandoned them. Hopefully this shock will put OP's ex on the right track and help his kids out. And for you, OP, I understand it's sad, of course, but I think this is the right move for you. You can't be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't appreciate or respect you. So on that note, here's wishing you the best in the future. Thank you for sharing and take care. And now, let's move on to the next post that, like I said in the beginning, also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice, and it's by user Throwaway Sad Sad Boon. I, 29 male, lost my wife 3 years ago, started dating again, and new girlfriend, 32 female, wants to visit my wife's grave. I am one of many who lost someone in that damn 2020. She was my world, and we had our future all set up. She wanted children too by 2021, and then she was gone. I felt I had lost all sense of purpose, and after an agonizing year, moved away. Not too far, but not too close either. I didn't feel like I could breathe in that town. Still, every Saturday, I get back and visit her resting place. I just functioned for about 2 years. I am not depressed or anything like that, but I just functioned until I met who we will call Ada last year. We started talking and hanging out together. She can be a bit haughty with people she doesn't know well, but I was surprised to find out how sweet and kind she is under the ice. She gave me something to look forward to again. She likes to do most of the talking herself, which is fine with me because I never know what to say. She knows everything about my wife, and this didn't discourage her. She knows I am doing therapy and still mourning, but she never left me alone. I asked her to tell me if anything I do or say makes her feel uncomfortable or like she's not a priority. She said that, as of now, I am doing nothing of the sort. She knows what I do every Saturday morning and has never objected to it. But today, she said she would like to meet her, as in accompanying me in visiting her grave. I feel conflicted about this. On the one hand, I respect and feel touched by her wish. On the other, it feels weird for a guy to take a new girlfriend where the first wife is buried. How should I approach this? Is it too soon? Should I ask her to wait for that? Well, OP, first of all, I'm so sorry for your loss. That must have been heartbreaking, of course. But the silver lining is that considering that huge loss, you're not broken and you continue to work on yourself. So good for you. Now, regarding your girlfriend, I can understand that it can feel a bit weird because it's not something that I would think everybody would ask. However, I don't get the impression that it's out of maliciousness. And I have to say, this is the first time that I've heard in a story similar to yours of such a mature and understanding action by the partner. She knows everything about you. It's not like she's trying to replace her or that she feels threatened by her or jealous of her or anything like that. It sounds like she genuinely wants to go with you because she understands how important it is to you and she wants to be there for you. Now, if her request does weird you out a little bit, I would tell her that you love that she's interested, but that you're not ready for that yet. However, when you are, you'll let her know and you can both go and visit. And what do you guys think about OP's situation? How would you go about it? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Jiddly Jitson says, waiting is fine if you are not ready. It feels like she wants to support you in something that was, and I'm sure still is, pretty traumatic. Joining you to visit isn't about meeting your wife, it's about being with you whilst you are still grieving and recovering. Trashmouth says, if you feel better being alone, it's okay to tell her. Sounds like she's wanting to know more and is trying to get closer to you. sounds supportive. It's okay to not be ready or want to do that. She will be okay with it. And Not Trying to Make Waves says, I'd say it's a good thing that Ada is treating your late wife with respect. There's a lot of posts here where the new wife wants to obliterate the memory of wife number one, and so this is at least healthier. If you have faith that you are able to speak to your wife at the graveside, then you could perhaps go by yourself first and say some thoughts out loud. Good luck. And Opie responds, yes, I've read some posts that sound like nightmares. To be honest, I don't really talk at her grave. I just take care of it and look at it. I do talk with her in my thoughts though. And a comment from OP. To clarify, I don't do anything dramatic like talking to her grave or crying my eyes out when I visit. I just keep it clean, water the flowers, and replace the dead ones. Check the wear and tear on the stone and clean the glass with her picture. Alright, well, I think the community gave OP some very sensible advice that when he's ready, if he's ready, he can take Ada. And if he's not ready, then surely she will understand. Because it does sound like she's being really supportive. Anyways, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Some Redditors and some people around us were worried that my relationship with Ada was just a rebound. I admit, it is something that I too was worried about, and Ada told me she didn't have long-lasting expectations at first. We began dating in April 2023, but as things progressed and she saw my intentions were serious and I was committed, her doubts about me disappeared. She says we are made of the same stuff. We are two loyal, committed, and hardworking people, and she wants a future with me, and so do I. We are looking for a new place to share, and I'm looking for a ring to make my proposal. I admit that one of my biggest concerns is that I don't want to take advantage of her goodwill, even unintentionally. Her kindness and patience are near infinite. But I told her I don't want our relationship to be all about my past. It would not be fair to her. She reassured me she doesn't feel taken advantage of and that I do a lot to make her feel loved and appreciated for who she is. At the same time, she recognizes this is a part of me she's willing to accept to be with me. To my surprise, everyone approves of us, my parents, Ada's parents, and my late wife's mother. We never got any backlash. Now, on to the update. I talked about this with my therapist. She feels that based on what she knows about Ada and the way she always behaved about this, bringing her to my wife's grave will probably be a positive thing. So I told Ada that if she felt like it, I'd be glad to take her with me this Saturday. She was happy to hear this. She usually works on Saturday mornings but said she'd take the morning off for me. However, I had unexpected things come up for tomorrow. I have to cover for a sick coworker, which means I'll be taken all morning and a great part of the afternoon. It happens, and when it happens, I either go on Friday or Sunday. I decided to go this afternoon and asked Ada if she wanted to come along, and she readily agreed. We didn't talk much during the drive. When we arrived, we made our way to my wife's tombstone, and I just said, well, here she is. I fetched the water for the flowers and started my usual routine. Ada just crouched as if to examine it. Then she helped me with the caretaking routine, removed the dead leaves and flowers, and cleaning the picture and the light. We then took a walk around the cemetery. It might sound weird, but it's not unusual here as many cemeteries double as parks, and then sat outside for a smoke before the drive back. We talked a bit, and Ada, who's quite the stoic, got a little emotional. She was happy I had let her in on what, for me, is a particularly intimate and sacred place, but also shaken because after all the talking we had done of my late wife, she subconsciously thought of her as someone she'd want to meet and be friends with. But seeing the grave reminded and cemented the fact that this amazing woman is gone. It was a bit of shaking for me too, seeing her tearing up since she's the most stoic woman I've ever met, but it also made me think how this woman is a rare gem. I don't doubt that in different circumstances, my late wife and Ada would have been great friends. And I'm a very lucky guy for finding not one, but two amazing women who gave and still give my life meaning every day. Well, OP, considering the underlying sadness that your story brings, I think it's uplifting the way that Ada has behaved and the way that she understands you and wants to be there for you and the life that you guys apparently are going to build together. And there's really not much more to say except that I do wish the both of you the best in the future. Take care, OP, and thank you for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.